So I said this earlier, behavior is a form of communication, right? So behavior can be communicated in several ways. And how do you know it's a form of communication? Because it's going to happen, and it could be loud, it could be shut down, it could be I'm putting my hood over my head, I am putting glasses on, and it's for several reasons. Behavior usually stems from being overstimulated from the environment, and that's something that we are going to talk about further down the road. I'm going to go over a couple of these. So aggressive behavior, probably more so that the student is frustrated due to not being understood. When a student starts to escalate, what we call escalate, or head towards meltdown or breakdown or shutdown, they usually are giving some signs before that. So it'll be really important for us to kind of be aware of how do I intervene with this before the behavior becomes what looks like aggressive, or where it becomes out of control and I need to call the campus police. Some of those things would be like stimming behavior, where a student might hand flap, rock a lot. They might start putting their hoods over their head, their sunglasses on. They may appear blank and tired, and that's because their environment is affecting them at that time. It also can be that something happened before they entered class, even the day before. They've processed through it, and now it's hitting them all at once in the classroom. So simply just walking over, if you have a fidget, hand them a fidget. If you notice that they're starting to get more anxious, work with them beforehand, tap on the desk. It's okay to take a break. Even a little visual card, slide to them that you use with the whole class. All of these things can be used with the whole class because everybody learns differently, and we encompass the whole environment. They may not know that it's okay to go take a break at that time, because there's something going on in the class that they might feel like, if I leave, it's not a good time, and then they're going to get upset with me. So being vigilant and letting them know that it's okay. So you can have these slides and you can kind of look through these. Stimming behaviors are those that occur and the student can't stop that. So that's really important to know. So if you walk up to a student who's tapping, right, and they're doing it during a lecture, or they're doing it and being disruptive, you going over to them or me going over to them and telling them to stop is going to only have them engage in it more. So replacing, if we can replace it, or just walk by and, you know, maybe stop the pen or something on the desk, give them a replacement. Dimming the lights in the classroom. Maybe opening a window. Try to think larger than what's really happening, because it's a communication that something's going on and something's disrupting. And it could also be a sign of headed towards a meltdown. So any questions around that?
Sam, I would just like to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Christine Price. For those of you who don't know who I am, I run the STEPS program at Austin Community College. And I work with individuals who have IDD, which also includes autism. And so a lot of students who take classes in our program either have anxieties, starting college outright on their own, or they need to build up some of their skills before they go on. So one of the things that I have done is, if I have a student who, especially if I have they've already disclosed to me that they have autism, sometimes just giving them some Post-it notes and having them, they can put it on their monitor. And that means I need to take a break because I'm having an issue. Or sometimes I will just write on a Post-it note. I carry them in my pocket. You know, do you need to take a break? And just set it on their desk. What you don't want to do is, in this situation, is, like she said, point it out, call on them, because that's going to make it worse. But if you can just nonchalantly pass them a note, or pre-set it up with them that when they put a Post-it note up on their, you know, monitor or desk, that means they need a break and they can just quietly leave the classroom. Anything like that helps. anything that's nonverbal that you can just set up with them, like Sam had said before, really, really helps. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just small tweaks make big differences. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you so much. And anytime you want to interject, please feel free, because you are also an expert in this and very helpful. So Amy asked if we had any advice on how to help students who go completely quiet and shut down. And I do, and then I'll let you if you have something. But I have a feeling we'll kind of be along the same lines here. But
yeah.
Whatever you do, do not go up to that student and ask 10,000 questions. The reason for that is they are shutting down because they are overwhelmed, and they are needing that moment of serenity, I say, right? They just need to shut things out at that moment. So what I would do is give them a couple seconds, and like she said, write something on a note, or kneel down next to them and give them one instruction. Or you could also offer them a choice between two things: get up and walk away. But don't stand there constantly asking them over and over, or trying to get them to engage with you, because that is going to send that person into a complete meltdown, which could be very ugly. And it's because they're already trying to shut down the sensory around them. They're already trying to self-regulate. And if we're disrupting that and we're causing more, and we're trying to push for an answer, we're going to end up in a situation where they may throw something, they may kick the wall, they may, because they're giving you information. I'm shutting down. Remember, behaviors of communication. I'm giving you signals that I can't take any more information right now. So the best thing to do is provide an instruction or a directive. Hey, why don't you go take a break? Walk away. And if they don't immediately get up and take a break, that's okay. You've given them permission, they know. So that's my advice. I'm not sure if that helps. Is there any further advice you have?
I would say that's great advice. And yeah, they may not get up right away when you've given them permission, but sometimes just having that permission will bring them back to middle ground is what I always call it. So so just them knowing they have that escape. I always say, you're an adult. If you're not feeling well, you can just step out of the classroom for a few minutes. It doesn't bother me. Now, I know not all professors are okay with people coming in and out, but this is where you would have that conversation prior. But yeah, just sometimes knowing they have that permission to leave for a second, to regain control of their senses again, so that they can come back and join. But yeah, just that permission sometimes is all they need, is to know that they have an out of this overstimulating situation.
And be specific on the amount of time that they can be outside the classroom. So, hey, why don't you go take a 2-minute break and come back? Or take a 2-minute walk. Because if you say, go ahead and go leave, well, they're going to leave. Right? So we want to make sure that we're giving them, or you didn't give me a time to come back. So we're talking literal thinking. We're talking, you're giving me information and I'm following through with that. So just make sure that what you're giving them, the choice or the information you're giving them is precise and consistent, and it's something that, they'll be able to go, okay, and then I go out and I've got 2 minutes and I can come back in, right? I had another point, and I don't know, something's out here with the lawnmower and I can't hear. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, Amy. But that was, yeah. We're going to move on because I think we're going to run over, and I want to try to get through some stuff. So next up is Iva, our Vice President of ACCess Autism. And she's a phenomenal writer, and she is actually wanting to be a librarian in her future. So we will hear her take on meltdown and shutdown through her poem. Take it away, Iva.
Meltdown, regardless of whether or not anyone is watching. Assault on anxiety triggers an emotional explosion. Overwhelmed, I can't hold of the mask anymore. Shut down, responsible to sensation, frozen in a deep state of mind. I curl my legs into a ball and try to disable the catalyst. I wallow for a moment in the release.
Mm. To me, that is a really great description of what somebody with autism goes through and what's triggering, and how a shutdown will look for her, maybe, or for somebody else, right? Iva, do you want to explain any more on this?
Well, I wrote this poem to describe what it's like to have a shutdown and what causes it.
And so something about Iva is she's been working with me for a while, and we're with the group and doing awesome. And working together, we have helped these shutdowns, right, Iva, where we've given perspective and alternative means to what she can do instead of completely shutting down, not responding, going into fetal, we call it fetal position, and in a quarter, or taking off. So fight or flight, sometimes we'll go into a fight or flight stage. So Iva would go missing for about 10, 15 minutes during a meeting, and I was like, where'd Iva go? And I was spending a lot of time trying to find Iva. So teaching her how to self-regulate and giving her alternate means to help distress during class, allowing processing time, letting her know that it's okay, right? She's actually, I don't see this out of her anymore. With that being said, shutdowns and meltdowns, students with autism can hold in their shutdown and meltdown all day long and then go home and self-harm. So that's another thing that can happen because it's a release for them. So with that being said, I'm going to let Danielle describe her artwork. In masking, it's describing masking and shutdowns. Danielle, take it away.
Hi, I'm back. So I drew this picture resembling of what happens when I have a meltdown. I usually hide my meltdowns. And like Samantha just said, you know, we hide our meltdowns, and when we go home, we harm ourselves, we kick the wall or punch the wall, or we like pull our hair out and like scream at the top of our lungs in the pillows, or just do those kind of things. Because when we're in like a social environment, we don't want anyone to see that. We don't want people to know that we're freaking out. So we tend to just smile, like me. I usually just smile and just pretend that I'm okay and just simply walk away and continue my day until I reach home. If you look at the picture, I'm wearing a mask. That's because my smile is fake. It's not my real smile. It's just, hey, I'm okay, you know, but the reality is it's not. And behind me is my shadow of what's happening inside of me. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do.
Thank you, Danielle. And so this happens a lot. Trying to self-regulate through the day and then letting it all go later on, or really inside, they're really falling apart. And when not just people with autism, when people hold it in, as we know, too long, this leads to a lot bigger issues. So working a lot with the students on, it's okay to tell me how you're feeling right now. Or I noticed this going on a consistent basis. Is there anything I can do to help you right now? Might take them a little while to respond, but trust me, they would rather you know what's going on than you not know, if they trust you. A couple of things about meltdowns. If it gets way out of hand where a student is in the classroom or they're in the hallway and they're punching and kicking things, of course our instinct is to get somebody there that can help. And we do have campus police that are trained in mental health. Sometimes that uniform can be scary. So it's crucial to know some techniques on what you can do to help diffuse the situation. Now, if they're out of control to the point where they're throwing or hitting, of course we won't allow that. But just make sure that you know that even calling the campus police could cause even more escalation and more issues. So that'll lead us to referring later on in how we can help students in a web of supports.